Pastor's Pondering. 2 Kings chapter 5, 1-3 and 7-15. Naaman, commander of the army of the king of Aram, was a great man and in high favor with his master, because by him the Lord had given victory to Aram. The man, though a mighty warrior, suffered from leprosy. Now the Arameans, on one of their raids, had taken a young girl captive from the land of Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "If only my lord were with the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy." When the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes and said, "Am I God to give death or life that this man sends word to me to cure a man of his leprosy? Just look and see how he's trying to pick a quarrel with me." But when Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes, he sent a message to the king. "Why have you torn your clothes? Let him come to me, that he may learn that there is a prophet in Israel." So Naaman came with his horses and chariots and halted at the entrance of Elisha's house. Elisha sent a messenger to him, saying, "Go, wash in the Jordan 7 times, and your flesh shall be restored, and you shall be clean." But Naaman became angry and went away, saying, "I thought that for me he would surely come out and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, and would wave his hand over the spot and cure the leprosy. Are not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Could I not have washed in them and be clean?" He turned and went away in a rage. But his servants approached and said to him, "Father, if the prophet had commanded you to do something difficult, would you not have done it? How much more when all he said to you was, 'Wash and be clean'?" So he went down and immersed himself 7 times in the Jordan, according to the word of the man of God, and his flesh was restored like the flesh of a young boy, and he was clean. Then he returned to the man of God, he and all his company. He came and stood before him and said, "Now I know that there is no God in all the earth except in Israel. Please accept a present from your servant." This is the First Testament lesson that we'll be reading on Sunday. The story of Naaman is one everyone should know well. It's like a children's board book lesson in arrogance and pride. An elementary school child could read it and understand how easy it is for us humans to trip over our own egos, to cut off our noses despite our faces, as the phrase goes. The temptation, though, with stories like this, is to read them superficially. Naaman bad, servant girl brave, the God of Israel good. But the power of the story really and truly lies in what happens in us when we take the deeper questions that this story suggests to heart and to ponder them. Questions like, are there ways that I am putting up barriers to receiving the gifts God has for me because I somehow think I know better? Or how do I dig in my heels like Naaman did? Too invested in my own perspectives to live humbly before God. In what ways am I a captive that needs to be brave and speak up about trusting in God despite my circumstances? In this story, the nations were in terrible conflict. The power dynamics were strained between leaders and nations, as we can tell from the story. In the midst of it all, the prophets were pointing to God, not to leaders, not to rulers, not to the most powerful. Trust in God was the message. Prophetic witness came from a kidnapped girl, from the prophet Elisha, from those who encouraged and others Trust in God. No matter where you're from or what your group tells you about who's number one, trust in God and do what God asks. This is an ancient and timeless message in a world that is filled with vicious division, lies, and an endless supply of shameless egos and arrogance. The story of Naaman continues to teach, correct, encourage, and embolden faith. From ancient times, God beckons us in this moment to ask the deeper questions and to answer them for ourselves first. They aren't for everyone else, after all. They are for those who follow the living God. Trust God and do what God asks. There is great good news waiting for us in a river just beyond our own certainty. See you in worship on Sunday at 9:30. God's peace and blessings to you all, beloveds. Pastor Janet.